today? January 8th. It's good to see everyone. Happy New Year. We have quorum, so we're going to get started. To get going, I want to have you all review and approve the minutes. If you've got any concerns or edits, please let us know. It's good to see everybody. And we have a bunch of updates for you as well. Thank you. I know. I'm hoping other members will join him in a minute. Okay, I'm not hearing anything. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Great. Anyone against or abstaining? Okay. Great. Does this mean we have enough votes? I think that's fine. So then this motion so moves, and I'm moving on to the next things. Trying to be speedy. All right. First, there's a financial update. Pratik was nice enough to walk around and pass these out to everybody. Per usual, there's not a lot of movement in this guy. Just scanning it quickly. I don't think I see anything. Hello, Marcus. I don't think I see anything crazy. But we are somewhat underspent, so I'm curious about that, but we can talk about that when and if Davey comes. Okay, if that's okay, I'd like to move on from financials until he's here. I do want to quickly introduce our new commissioner. I believe it's Jeff Teague. Is that correct? Yes. Typically, Davey would introduce you, but if you could say a few things, and welcome to the commission. Yeah, that's you. You got to push that button.
Push that.
Yes.
Should it be on?
Yes.
Is it on?
Yeah.
I'm Jeff Teague. I was approved by the council December the 19th. I am currently a nonprofit consultant. I've been doing that off and on for about 5 or 6 years. I was also in Congressman Cooper's office before he retired. I was there for about 4 years doing communications work for him. And also during the height of the pandemic, we were all doing constituent services work as well. Prior to that, I was the president and CEO of Planned Parenthood of Middle and East Tennessee for 17 years. That's how I know the Honorable Mr. Vinnick. And prior to that, I had a life in Washington, D.C., working in politics. I worked for Senator and then Vice President Gore. I was on his staff when he was in the Senate, and then later on his staff at the White House, and then did a stint at the U.S. Agency for International Development. Was the Deputy Director for Communications in charge of population health and nutrition programs around the world.
Excellent. Thank you for that overview. And we are happy to have you. So thank you for coming, and looking forward to your input and your participation. We are a very collaborative commission, so feel free to speak up. And if you don't know what's going on, feel free to say that as well. We're happy to. Most of the time, none of us do. So we are happy to have staff or legal explain to us what is going on, or Erwin or Charles, perhaps. Okay, so it's great to have you. I have, staff update. Do you want to do this, Ashley, or you want to wait for Davey? We can wait for Davey. Okay. I want to give you guys an update on the executive director evaluation. So this is the way that's going. You got an email we met up. I told y'all I was going to meet with XCOM. I told you we were going to do it there. But then once we were there, we were like, you know what? Let's give the full commission the ability to weigh in on this I created a rubric as a model, just to allow you to think through your thoughts, and then you can score it a little bit. And not a little bit, you can score it. And it's got different categories. Crystal sent that out to the whole commission on December 19th. I mean, it was December 19th, admittedly. So if you missed that email, that's fair enough. But you can either search in your email for that, or we can try to resend it. But basically, I said, please fill this out. You can please email it to staff staff once you filled it out. It is a PDF, and I realize that might make it harder. If that makes it harder, I can send a Microsoft Word version or a Google Doc to Ashley and Crystal. But anyways, fill that out, send it back to them, not to me, send it back to them, and they will have the tallies, just so we know how y'all have scored him on the rubric. Hello, welcome. And we will meet, XCOM will meet on, is it the 17th? It's 19th. It's next Friday, I believe, at noon typically, or 11 is when we meet. And we will discuss that then, having had your answers. And if anyone wants to show up to have that discussion with us, we'd love that. But we're just going to kind of go through the categories, any red flags that come up, any stars, anything we want to really comment on or want to emphasize. And then after that, once we feel like we've had a thorough conversation and everyone's had a chance to input, we will move forward and sort of bring the conclusion back to the commission in February for an official, like, Davey has been evaluated moment. I will report back to you, or whoever was there in the XCOM can report back to you what the conversation was and how we feel about the process. That's where that process is. Yes, Pratik.
Just for clarification, or just so we know, who on staff should we email it to? It feels like it should be one point person. Is it Crystal? Is it?
It was Crystal in the email.
Okay, email it to Crystal.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then, do you have some hard copies?
We all have a hard copy.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so yeah, if you fill it out, like after the meeting, whatever, Ashley can take it. Crystal's out today, so Ashley can take it.
Great.
Any other questions about that? Does that sound clear? I thought it was clear, and then it sounded muddy when I said it. So you fill it out, you give it to Ashley today, or email it to Crystal, soft copy. Whoever's there at the meeting on the 19th will discuss, and then we'll bring it back to y'all and finish and complete this process in February.
Sorry,
as a commission.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Just for scale, 1 to 5, and then if you don't know the answer, you put 0. Is that?
I don't remember, but
I think that's what it. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page and evaluating the same way.
It says right there, evaluation.
Yes.
Great.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Thank you. And just to let you know, the rubric was a mix of just best practices I found in the world and everything that we had in the original job description when we hired him. So some of that might not be relevant anymore because we shifted and we moved, but I wanted to just have it there because that's what we said we wanted an executive director for. Okay. So that's the executive director evaluation. Let's hear about this MHRC office move. Do you want to talk about that? No. Yes? Look at you both.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Happy New Year. It's good to see everybody. So we have officially moved to our permanent location. Woo! No more, don't say that, don't jinx us. Lots of boxes everywhere, but you are, of course, welcome to visit us at 150 2nd Avenue. And there is a parking garage directly across the street. It is on Commerce if you are looking for the parking garage. If you know where the Sbarro used to be down there, it's right, that's the parking garage right there. But we are super excited. It's a great space. It's a all new layout. We have a couple of cubicles if you want to come work from our office. You can come spend some time with us and ask questions if you'd like to review any documents. We are in the process of unpacking right now, so give us a little, if we are behind on answering your emails here at the beginning of the year, we deeply apologize, but it's just a lot of moving. But yes, it's a great space. The public defender's office is on the 3rd and 4th floor, so if you have folks from the community asking you where the public defender's office is, it's again 150 2nd Avenue, and it's on the 4th floor, so you can refer them up to there, or they can just come visit us. We are working to make sure all our community partners have our updated address, so that's an email that will be going out. Anything you want to say about the move? I'm sorry, welcome. Okay. Yes. So yes, that's our new address. We do have guest badges. So if you ever are, like, if you're someone who's working as part of an ad hoc committee and need like regular access to our office space, let us know and we can provide you with a guest badge. And then as far as parking goes, you can take the bus to our office. It is accessible, so make sure you look Yeah, Ashley did it today. If you work downtown, you can also walk, which is really nice. But there, like I said, the parking garage is right across the street. What I found out was if you park between 5 to 10 a.m. And then leave before 6, it is only $10. So that is if you're referring anybody to come to the office or anything like that. But of course, we'll have passes and we'll work with you as far as our flex parking spot goes if you're visiting our office. But please give us a heads up. As always, you can email Ashley, myself, or Crystal if you're wanting to plan a visit. And we will let you know when we're officially unpacked so everyone can come do a tour, because it is a very nice space and we're right on the waterfront. So we get to watch all of the East Bank deconstruction and reconstruction that'll be happening. So yeah, any questions?
You said badges?
Yes.
So we won't be able to walk straight through?
No. So
Okay.
when you come through the first floor, there will be a security guard. So a security guard may have to let you in. They're only there during business hours. So if you visit us after 5, you'll have to give us a call so we can meet you down. But yes, you'll need a badge to access our office. So you'll have to let us know if you're coming to visit the office so we can let you into the actual physical space. There's several departments. I think it's us, internal audit, sports authority, and I feel like I'm missing one. But there's several departments. The beer board. But there's several departments on our floor, so we'll have to let you into our specific space. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Wonderful. Well, I'm excited to have you guys visit us, and I'll pass it over back to Miriam. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Davey, we have zoomed forward. Well, it's good to see you. Happy New Year. If you would like to give us a staff update and do a financial update, those are the two we've kind of skipped over. And Jeff introduced himself. I don't know if there's anything you also would like to add to that intro.
Okay, well, let me start backwards. Well, first, excuse my tardiness. We were trying to ensure that everybody got the notice of the change, and we've been in the office, and I ran home to change and just drove over to Sunny West, and the parking lot was full. This is a true story. And I drove around the parking lot waiting for a place to park. It didn't dawn on me until I walked down those steps and my knees almost gave out. We're not even supposed to be here. So excuse my tardiness on that. And again, if Jeff has introduced himself, I'm sure that he did a good job of that. And I'm sure that some of you in here already know him. And so I'm excited about him being here. And we look to leverage him as we try to leverage all of you toward making Nashville a more just and equitable place for everybody. So we're glad that he's here. The finances are still the same. We don't have much to, we actually have, our budget is approximately $750,000 or so. Almost all of that is salary and benefits. So we don't have money for anything particularly. So there's not any movement in our budget from month to month, primarily. And when you do look at it, you'll see it's stuff like we had $5,000 to facilitate what we're doing for some public something, or $2,500 that we participated in part of Human Rights Day, or whatever. But the larger part of the budget, as we're struggling to get through with it, would be to get it to you for the upcoming budget, where we will be seeking some personnel additions. The staff update, RJ found a position that he had wanted for a while, gave us 2-week notice, and December 25th was his last day with us. And so as we moved up to that point, I want to appreciate Ashley again, who stepped in to take over the lion's share of bringing this report to fruition on the arts issue. We are in the process now of trying to work with HR to hopefully restructure that position. We found in our budget some dollars in which we can, if they approve, allow us to offer more money for the position. We would really like to get someone not who has the necessary, well, we want someone with the necessary requisite skills for the job, but we would love to have someone who has also done these type investigations and things. And most of those who are with, say, the state agency and that have been around for a while, we're definitely going to have to take the salary up a little bit. So we've been used to making do with less, and so we're going to do all right until we get that position filled. Did I cover everything that you asked, Madam Chair?
Looks like you did. And I just realized ever since I've been here, the annual budget's been $750, I think, a year. So I think, regardless of what we want to add or subtract, I think that's a really important point, that it's been years and years and years, despite inflation, despite whatever, that the number have stayed the same. So if I can help plug that when it's time, I will.
Well, we would hope that the entire commission would help plug that when it was time. Right, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you for all those updates. I'm going to ask someone else to give us an update. So the Bylaws and Rules Ad Hoc Committee did meet in December. I was there for that, and I'm going to ask either Charles, are you going to give us the update? Charles and Erwin are the guys taking this on. So there was a good discussion there.
It looks like Erwin deferred to me to give the update, although I might have to rely on him for my recollection.
I always defer to you.
Because I forgot my notes. But I think in a nutshell, maybe two things to point out about our review. As Madam Chair mentioned, we did meet Erwin, Garlinda, and I, and then also some members from the executive committee. And we were looking at our bylaws and whether or not we needed to amend any portion of those bylaws. We've looked at the bylaws. I'd say that for the most part, other than maybe some minor changes, we didn't notice a lot of issues with the bylaws. There may be some gaps in the commission's involvement with investigations, because the commission staff, of course, runs with those investigations, completes them. Our bylaws don't really speak to what the commission's actual involvement with those investigations are. I think the bigger question was, or maybe the biggest thing that we might have resolved, is that we might be able to interpret the code to be somewhat broad as far as what our powers are as a commission in terms of investigations or other discrimination that comes before the board. Because we did not find a lot of clarity in the code and what the code says. However, the end result of any investigation, if it were to go to a hearing, I think is still very much a gray area in terms of what would happen if, for example, with the arts investigation, if it led to a hearing from the commission, and then the commission made a decision through that hearing, what the ultimate legal remedy could be following that. We don't believe we have any rights to obviously make or provide a legal remedy to any party. We would essentially be making a recommendation or a finding based upon the facts that we reviewed. But happy to defer to Erwin if he wants to add anything or correct anything that I just said.
No corrections, but I think we also sort of touched a little bit about the rules and procedures, and that probably requires maybe a little further digging into, because we have a charter, we have bylaws. We have charter, we have code, and then we have rules and procedures, and bylaws and rules and procedures. So,
and those rules and procedures are essentially, if you think about the code, gives our organization life, gives us authority to do certain things. Our rules and procedures are further describe how we will go about conducting those powers that we have.
And there was going to be some like historical looking back part of this too, right?
Well, actually, I ended up doing that. Since the commission has been established, I think there have been 4 or 5 directors. I think Fred Cloud was the initial director, then followed by Kelvin Jones, followed by Carolyn Blackwell, followed by followed by Tom Negri, followed by Mel. So in terms of the rules and procedures, I ended up being able to make contact with Carolyn, Tom, and Mel. The rules and procedures were adopted in 2012, which would have been sort of when Carolyn was there and a little bit before Tom. Carolyn had no recollection of processing the rules and procedures, although it appears that it would have been put together during her watch. She did have some recollection of having some interaction with Beverly Watts, who was then the executive director of the Tennessee Human Rights Commission, but nothing in particular. And I didn't follow up with Beverly. So I think that probably the Carolyn time is probably the right time. You know, why they were created, unclear. But I think that is a document that the commission itself adopts. I don't think it's, from what I can tell, requires any council approval or anybody else. It's just, you know, how we do the things we do.
Okay, so in terms of next steps, does the ad hoc committee need to meet again to determine what we want to do?
Well, I'd like the ad hoc committee to look at the rules and procedures.
Yeah, it sounds like if we've adopted it as our protocol, right, we need to decide if we're behind this or not still. Right. Yeah. Okay, great. Then we can do that. Yes, Pratik.
Question is, if there are parts that we're not behind, can we edit and vote on those? Like it's an editable document that we can vote on as a body, if I'm not mistaken.
As far as I can tell, again, it's not. It's a commission document. I don't think it requires approval by the council. Although it appears to have been filed with the council clerk. Now, I don't know why that would be the case.
It's a tricky thing because it's very detailed. It's actually very good, very detailed. Gives you a lot much clarity than our other documents do. Mm-hmm. But it was never anything that was adopted by council or something like that. Right. We just, as a body, they filed it, and then I guess they were like, "This is how we were going to work moving forward." So,
and just to add a caveat to that. From what I recall, and we looked at this, the code allows us to adopt those rules and procedures, which I think would just require a majority vote of the commission. But I think the caveat is we can't have rules and procedures that go beyond what we're authorized to do under the code. So that would be, I think, the only limitation in reviewing and revising the rules and procedures.
Matthew, could you get us Metro legal answers to that?
To what question about the?
To what they just said.
Yeah, I don't think anything that was said is incorrect.
Okay.
I believe I was trying to find a specific provision, but I'm pretty confident that under the code, it gives the MHRC the authority to adopt rules and regulations, and then so. It is an editable document that would be voted on by this body. So, yeah, that's something that's the MHRC has the authority to do under the code, is to adopt bylaws and rules and regulations.
So I would suggest that when we do get it together, to Commissioner Tarver's point, that you look at it to make sure that we don't, I forget the phrase you used. Yes. Yes.
Right. Which again, I would argue those parameters are broad or not defined. So I think there's probably some leeway and wiggle room in the extent we can go with rules and procedures.
Is there anything that we want in our charter or bylaws changed?
That's a heavier lift.
I mean, I know what it requires, but is there,
I guess, we haven't really talked about this in detail, but I think there are certain things that just legally just sort of don't make sense. Would you agree with that?
I do agree, and maybe this would have been your follow-up point, that if we do want things changed in our charter, then that would require us to lobby the council to change the code.
Yeah. I mean, for example, there's a provision in there about making report to a chancery court. Who knows what that means? And I don't think chancery court has any jurisdiction over what we do. So it's interesting how it was put together.
Right, and we don't have subpoena authority.
Right, we don't have subpoena authority.
These would be some of the things that we would possibly like to redesign. Yeah.
Or maybe the better statement, not that we don't have subpoena authority, but it's not written into the code that we have subpoena authority.
Well, actually, I think the way it's written is that, as it's written, we could issue subpoenas ourselves, which is not something
Right, it's not binding.
We can do. At least under current law, we can't do it.
Oh. Okay. Anything else from anybody else? Dave?
Yeah, there was discussion around that issue when I was chair, and the Tennessee law changed in regard to civilian oversight boards and their ability to issue subpoenas. And it's my understanding, and you may want to correct me, that legal issued a statement that that applied to all boards and commissions, and that the council would be the party to do that if one needed. So if you could
turn this on. I'm not familiar specifically with what you're referencing there. I do believe in the Metro Code there is a provision. It's just a general provision for boards and commissions dealing with, I don't think it uses the word subpoena, but it's some kind of method where you can summon individuals to appear. I think the thing that's unclear with respect to the MHRC's code provisions is in what context there's that power, because there's different types of hearings. There's a hearing in the context of a complaint, and then there's also public forums which are not related to a specific complaint. And I don't believe that if there is any kind of subpoena power, I don't believe it would extend to those types of hearings, but specifically in the context of a hearing dealing with a complaint, I believe there's a provision in the code that deals with that. I'd have to research it and look it up, but yeah.
It'd be great to get that, I think, right?
Because it would seem hard or maybe nonsensical that we have investigative authority without having subpoena authority or the authority to compel testimony.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. If you could get that to staff, they could present it to the committee. Okay, then another meeting it is. Anything else? I know this is kind of in the weeds, but they're important weeds right now. And moving forward for whoever's in the commission. Okay, I have a community engagement bullet here. And then I believe we have public comment. No public comment. Okay. I would love a request on the Arts Commission status. Could we do that? Oh, thank you. Okay, so community engagement.
Yes. Okay. So because we were ringing the new year, I sent you all an email before the year finished about all the exciting events coming up starting this week. So we've officially jumped into MLK Day week or weekend. All the festivities start on Wednesday with the very first event actually being sponsored by our office. We're doing a community banner day at Hadley Community Center from 5 to 7 p.m. As of right now, we have 15 community organizations that have signed up. We are being sponsored by Turnip Green Creative Reuse. So all the materials to make the banners are actually recyclable materials. So community organizations will show up, make their banner that they will be marching with on January 15th, Monday. I will be sending you an email. It was in the past email, but I'll add it to this email as well, with the link for all of the events for MLK Day weekend. So I'm going to read them off very quickly, but please know that there will be an official link where you can RSVP. If your organization wants to participate in Community Banner Day, please make sure to email me directly, or you can use the form at the link, but just let me know so I can make sure I have enough materials for your org if they're going to show up to make the banner. Otherwise, if you already have a banner and you just want to march, that same form you can use to sign up for the lineup for Monday marching as well. So like I said, Community Banner Day is Wednesday at the Hadley Community Center from 5 to 7. On Thursday, we have the IMF 2024 MLK Black Tie Gala. So that always sells out very quickly. I do believe there's still tickets left. So if you would like to participate in that, you may. This is a fundraiser for HBCUs. So please consider attending or recommending that folks attend. And that will be at the Cal Turner Center. So Thursday will be the gala. On Friday, we have the Labor and Human Rights Breakfast at the Scarlett Bennett Center. This year's conversation is the intersection of labor, faith, and civil rights. The keynote speaker is Reverend Daryl Gray. That's Friday, 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. So early day Friday, but it's a great breakfast with amazing speakers.
And what are those dates?
Sorry, Friday, January 12th.
Okay.
Yep. So Thursday, let me back up. Wednesday, January 10th is Community Banner Day. Thursday, January 11th is the Black Tie Gala. Friday, January 12th is the Labor and Human Rights Breakfast. Please RSVP for that breakfast. And again, Scarlett Bennett Conference Center. And then Saturday, January 13th is the MLK Day Youth Symposium. And so that is always a great event. It'll be at the MLK Academic Magnet School from 9 to 2:30. So it is a longer day event, but they're having wonderful workshops for youth. And then Sunday, January 14th, we have the Power of and Promise of Equitable Education at the Whiteman Chapel at Scarlett Bennett Center from 3 to 5 p.m. It's a great panel. It's going to be Dr. Glenda Glover, Dr. Adrian Battle, and Dr. Shanna Jackson, all wonderful Black women educators who will be talking about equitable education at Scarlett Bennett Center. Monday is our actual March Day. So that's the MLK Day Annual March to Gentry. We will be meeting at the Jefferson Street Missionary Baptist Church. The start time is 9 a.m. for that MLK Day March. So here is where my ask to you, really quickly. And then following will be the annual convocation. From 10 to 11:30 at the Gentry Center. So we begin marching from Jefferson Street Missionary Baptist, and then we end at Gentry, where there will be a convocation. My question to you lovely commissioners is, who would like to march the day of from starting at Jefferson Street Missionary Baptist to Gentry? Is there anyone here who would like to march? If so, we may march together as commissioners. Otherwise, if you have other groups that you're joining, no issue. I just wanted to see if MHRC itself wanted to march. So will you raise your hand or identify yourself?
What time
Yes.
approximately would that be?
Yes, so because the march starts at 9, we would hope everyone get there around 8:30 so we can line up and have our banner ready, and then we would start marching around 9 a.m. So, yes.
Well, the march is probably going to be closer to 10.
Okay.
Yeah, and Nikki Giovanni is the keynote speaker, but there's other activities that they have at Jefferson Street prior to the march, various speakers, politicians, and whatever. And then folks try to line up to walk up the.
So because the street will be closed, you will have to access street parking, preferably from, let me see here. I'll make sure.
Well, you park wherever you can.
Yes.
Yeah. Most people.
They're recommending Hadley Community Center is what they've been recommending, and then you can walk to Jefferson.
Yeah, because that's halfway between Jefferson Street and Gentry Center, so that on the way back, you don't have to go all the way back down.
It's generally parking available south of Jefferson Street in there's a residential area. And
street parking, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. So who would like to march?
Yeah, I'll say last year there was like a stage right at the Missionary Baptist Church, and they had like DJs, and it was kind of lots of activity and jokes, and you can go up there and make a fool of yourself, and it's fun.
A little different this year, but yes.
Okay, good. Because,
yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. It was funny. But the marching is really fun. The kids love it. It's like a really nice activity to do.
Yeah.
So I recommend y'all come out if you're up for it, because
Yes, wonderful.
It's a nice thing to do.
Okay.
Great. So
Who else?
we'll have a little crew.
Miriam, are you marching? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Okay. Sounds good. Anyone else?
Yeah, me and Auden will be there.
Okay. Wonderful. Awesome. Okay. Well, just so you know, we'll be making our MHRC banner on Wednesday. So if you want to come to Hadley, I'll be making that banner then. Otherwise, we have our annual convocation. As Davey mentioned, that the keynote speaker is Nikki Giovanni. So at Gentry Center, and that'll start, it says from 10 to 11:30 a.m. But everything, as we arrive to Gentry, we'll get there. There are several community partners that'll be tabling at convocation. So even if you're not able to make it to the march, please make sure you make it to the convocation and visit those tables for community partners that will be participating, including one of our own projects, Feedback. Nashville will be having their table there as well. So make sure you check those tables out at convocation. The other big thing is that we are coming up on the anniversary of the English only vote. And to celebrate this historical failure, positive failure, which led to, a welcoming Nashville, we are going to be holding an event on January 22nd at 9 a.m. We will be having a press round at the farmers market to talk about the historical context of what this vote's significance and what it meant to our city and what this means moving forward. We'll also be inviting folks to an afternoon event on, again, January 22nd, 6 to 7 p.m. at the Southeast Community Center, where we'll be screening our episode of Just Conversations and Language Accessibility that we filmed, and having a Q&A, kind of like a little question panel, and then a community group project where we're actually going to talk about where language accessibility is lacking in our city and what steps need to be taken next, considering what happened during the tornado, considering what resources aren't currently available in multiple languages right now. So we invite you January 22nd to join us both for the press round, 9 a.m. farmers market, and the community event in the afternoon, 6 to 7 at the Southeast Community Center. Yeah. Any questions about that? No, wonderful. We're super excited that community partners have been really responsive about celebrating that we've have accomplished so much about that. And we'll be reaching out to partner organizations for your participation in those events as well. So thank you. Yeah, that's all I got. Unless you have any questions for me. No? Okay.
Madam Chair, before you move on.
Yeah.
Did this commission recognize that you're one of the scene's People of the Year? We got to blow those horns.
Yes.
And I just want
Leverage
to make
those
sure.
horns. Is that what
No, blow those horns. I just wanted to make sure that we did recognize you as a group for the work that you've done as it relates to everything. And I think it says something about the person that you are, but I think it also says it's a good look for the chair of the Human Relations Commission to be Person of the Year. So congratulations.
Thank you. I feel like, when I came back in 2018, I got to come into this role pretty quickly after that. And this body has grown me and taught me a lot about how to do that and be that. So I really appreciate a lot what I've learned from you all. You're incredible human beings and very skilled at figuring out how to be equitable and just in this city and this state. So I, hat tip to you all for growing me and encouraging me to be courageous and bold and all those things. So in partnership, in team, I appreciate you. Thank you. I was just about to say thank you, Kathy, for doing all this excellent sort of organizing the community work. It's so much easier to follow and understand when you lay it out for us. And I know that you've got this overall vision of how it all works, and it's just working really well. And I really appreciate it. And I look forward to MLK Day and all the things. It sounds like it's going to be great. We had so much fun last year. The whole family went. Okay, and that's all for that. I think we're going to move to complaints update. Yeah, our favorite part of the day. Thanks.
I'm going to start, excuse me. I'm going to start, and then Ashley and I will go back and forth through this. A couple of things. We're still on to try to have a preliminary report together by the 12th, with a final one coming out on the 19th. The questions that we presented to Metro Legal, we have not received a response from. And so we'll await those, and we feel that that's a critical part of the entire complaint, is that we get some responses to those questions. And we have, Ashley will give you go ahead and do the down and dirty of the number.
All right. So I'm going to just give a review of what we've looked at to put things in our report. How do we know what we know? So these are sort of the categories of data. We started, and this is not in any particular order, but Metro Arts Commission and committee meetings back to dates that we felt were relevant to the specific allegations in the complaint, which were, of course, in July and August, looking at those votes and those meetings. But the decisions that went on several months leading up to that were the work that went into what was being voted on. So that includes things like the CARE Committee, the Grants and Funding Committee, in addition to the full commission. So that was looking at videos when they are available, because most of their meetings are not recorded. Looks at minutes when they are available. So that's our review of meetings. We've conducted, as of yesterday, 25 interviews. And so the breakdown of that is 11 commissioners. There are still 4 that I am either trying to get scheduled or have scheduled in the future. 4 staff members, 2 consultants, and 4 of the specific complainants. In the meetings, the interviews last anywhere from 30 minutes was the shortest to 2 hours was the longest. And so preparing for those interviews, doing the interviews and transcribing the interviews. I've also reviewed all of the commissioners' applications and confirmation interviews when they go before the Rules, Public Elections, and Confirmations Committee of the Council, because we're curious about, how did the commissioners end up on the seats that, you all went through it, right? So we reviewed those meetings and the application materials associated with them. I have a number in these 2 documents of what I would call planning documents, some internal to Metro Arts, some public documents for community engagement activities. Those are things like listening sessions, the editing panels, review panels. All of the activities that we've identified had discussion around the creation of funding formulas and funding scenarios over the last about 2 years or so. We've looked at the outcomes of the grant allocations, of course, so we have all of the information about the specific grantees, what categories they fall in, and not only for this year, but we have that data going back to 1988, so we can look at historical data if we want to. And then, as Davey said, like clarity around Metro Legal has been a body of data around this too. So I think everything that we've looked at fits within those categories. Any questions?
This is not a process question, but Davey, is the reason that you're awaiting legal's response because they are also a complaint, the complaint is against them? Like, is that why you feel the report can't be complete without that?
Not only that, but the Title VI complaint is about the granting and the rescinding of the grants. And so that occurred between July and August. And there was a closed session meeting that happened in between there that was conducted by Metro Legal. So the questions that we ask are pertinent to understanding the complaint, and I think that they will contribute a lot to what we end up saying about the complaint. To not have those answered, I don't have the right statement I'd like to say about that, and maybe Commissioner Trauber could jump in and help, but that those questions, I think, are fundamental to what the complainants are talking about, and that the information from Metro Legal is fundamental also to ascertaining whether or not there is a Title VI violation or not, but also what that played in, how that played into that situation. Also on, I think it was in December, the Public Facilities and Arts Commission that's headed by Council Member Stiles held a public hearing around this issue and asked that I and Director Singh appear before that commission, before that committee to answer some questions, and we did that.
So has Metro Legal just not responded at all to the questions, or have you heard any or had any communication from them?
Yes, I've communicated a couple times around this issue, but not about the questions specifically. Because again, our major issue that I really try to push is how can we conciliate a settlement that would be livable with all parties? And so I've actually had that discussion with Metro Legal on 2 occasions. And so, but no response to the official ask on the questions.
Is there any movement on the conciliation stuff?
There is a meeting that I don't know the gist of it per se. I'm trying to find out between arts, legal, finance, and HR on the 11th that we were not invited to attend, that I'm asking, can we attend, not necessarily to participate, but to observe, particularly if it's going to cover any of the issues surrounding the complaint.
So do we know whether that you made reference to a meeting that the commission had that was a private meeting with Metro Legal? Was that is your understanding that that meeting was for the purpose of providing legal advice?
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
So, but it was called an executive session.
Right.
And from what I can ascertain from what that means, that's normally the only reason that you could take a public body and not have the public access it.
And also, there would need to be some sort of court, some sort of case to be able to have that meeting. That's the other thing we talked about, like some sense that there's some legal issue in the first place. And so that was the other thing we kind of wanted to know. What is that legal issue? Okay, do y'all feel comfortable giving us some sort of timeline, or?
We hope to have a preliminary on the 12th and float that, and then we hope to have something finalized by the 19th. I personally feel pretty good about the information that we've gathered. I think we've taken a really deep dive into the particulars around it. And I think that the report that we will generate will be able to substantiate what we say. And again, I want to say appreciate Ashley stepping in and just stepping in, making it happen as we continue to move this along.
I have a question. So Metro Legal had not responded directly to the questions that were directed at them. Has that ever happened before, where Metro Legal has been a part of a complaint where they've just not provided information to us?
I couldn't answer that. Heretofore, they've been responsive to the request that MHRC has had.
Okay.
And that was sent on December the 10th.
Got it. Thank you.
I guess my question is, do you foresee anything that will need a vote in February that, we should be prepared for? Obviously, you have your action steps up to January, which as a commissioner, I think sounds great. But is there anything that we need to be ready for, or that the executive committee needs to be ready for to handle in the meeting that's upcoming? Because obviously I think that timeline probably tracks better than our monthly timeline. So I guess those are my questions.
Not particularly. As we've read everything, our report is the report from staff. So that doesn't require an approval of the commission, but you definitely get to critique it.
Typically, with these complaints, you all find a way to bring it to some sort of settlement where everyone feels generally, I believe with all of them, you
Yes,
settled. Even health, you settled that one, or no?
No.
Okay, no. So not all. But I understand we're going to have this report. I think everyone, the whole world, will be very grateful for this report because there's just been so much unknown and confusion around all of this. But what's your temperature on actually getting to a resolution on the complaint?
I'm hopeful. I really am hopeful that, because they have started processing the contracts. Yes, but part of the problem was some of the awards, the amounts had been changed. And so that's 75% of it. So as they move toward fruition, it seems that it could be reached, and I'm hopeful that it will be.
And Charles brought up a good point. There's the complainants, but then just everybody that was affected by this and Thrive. So if they're processing contracts, are they going to process everyone's?
Well, they had already gone through the process in July, so they had the list of individuals who were going to get funded, and the individuals that are part of the complaints had their funding cut. And so hopefully, because one of the issues that we've talked about is that in doing that, they were told one thing and then it was cut. But then when you look at the other end of the spectrum, the large organizations did not get cut. And so that's an area of concern also. One of the things that has been said in a couple spaces is that what will fix this is that if the city devotes more money to arts, then it can become more equitable. But we as a group that specializes in understanding what equity is, if all I have is $1, getting another $1 doesn't mean I'm going to handle it even any more equitably. So the issue is, what do I do with the first $1 I get? And so that's the primary or the major area of concern that I think even goes beyond the complaint, is the way in which public funds are allocated. Are they allocated equitably throughout Nashville? So that's something, too, that even outside of the addressing the Title VI complaint, but the overall implications as it addresses to being equitable, there's some things in there that we hope that the city as a whole would look at.
All right. Anything else? The ongoing conversation. I thought Dakota's question was a good one. I mean, we've never had legal as a party on a complaint. So, and that brings us back to some of the other stuff. Okay. If you don't hear back from them, you're just going to move forward with the report, I assume.
Well, we have really no choice, but that has to be a significant part of it, that there is no response. And I think the questions are legitimate. I think the questions are pertinent to understanding what happened.
Okay. And mayor's office and other folks know that this is the process we're taking, and this is what's going to come out. And
But we've not personally talked to the mayor's office, but we've been in contact and with Metro Legal. The council has taken a particular interest in it, so we provided them with information. So we're trying to do our best to get to the end of it. Ashley has binders over here, and most of those are transcripts of interviews and everything else, of trying to make sure that what we say about this, we have some evidence to say this is why we're saying this.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, Ashley. That's a lot of work.
Just out of curiosity, I assume that what we're transcribing are taped interviews. That's a lot of time.
Yes.
Yeah, with the exception of 2, they've all been Zoom interviews. And so we ask consent, we record, and then we clean up the transcripts.
Okay, good.
And looking at multiple hours of past meetings, primarily those 2, but others to draw a context of how do we get here too. You can't just speak about this moment without at least setting up some type of historical context of significant events within the arts that we think are critical to this point.
Right. Well, the reason I ask is just because, interviewing people and doing transcripts is a very expensive proposition if it's done with court reporters and all that kind of stuff.
We don't have a budget for
right,
it, so
I know
it's
that.
manually done.
That's why I was asking the question.
I want to ask a question. We keep talking about legal, and Matthew is sitting right here. Is that being messy if we ask him if this is normal for them not to get back with us like that?
Well, I'll just say I believe there was a response is forthcoming this afternoon if it hasn't already been sent. I can't speak to whether it addresses all of the questions or not because I wasn't involved with that response. But that's my understanding, is that there should be a response forthcoming if it hasn't already been sent this afternoon.
Well, I got it. I thumbed through it. and I'll read it later. But no, it's really just addressing the issue that was raised early on, and I think Commissioner Traber was there, whether or not this was even a Title VI issue. And what I kind of reading through it, is that it is highly likely that it is a Title VI issue. But to the other 9, 10 questions specifically, this is not it.
This is not it, as in they skipped it, or they gave you
No, there were two
non-answer
things.
answers?
No, there were two things that were going on.
Yeah,
Early
okay.
on, whether or not, because you have to connect the federal money to it. And so after Derek Smith was the one who researched that part, the questions that were sent to Laura Fox and Wally Dietz, in that Laura was the attorney, or is the attorney, her and Tessa Ortiz, that have been working with Metro Arts. So that particular letter was addressed to them. This was from Derek about whether or not it was even a Title VI complaint, because we talked quite a bit about if it's not within the broadness or whatever of our rules and regs, there's the lesser issue of just discrimination, and so this is the answer to just that part.
Well, great. So now we know. I think that was 6 weeks ago that you submitted that. Yeah. Ben.
So, as commissioners, what is our responsibility? What can we expect? How can we help? Are we supposed to review? You said we might review things. Is that between the 12th and the 19th? So how can we be a part of this, or however we can help you?
As I said before, support us. Yes, we're going to send it to you, and we would like to get your comments. But I also want to say that already you've been involved. You spent hours. Commissioner Traber has spent hours. Commissioner Vinnick, who has been a part of most things. So on that level, that help is immeasurable. Just the crafting of the questions and the way in which we spent time trying to talk about how we were going to come about it, and the amount of time that you all spent outside of meetings to do that has been critical to even get us to where we are right now.
Sorry. My only other thought on this is just because this is, I think it's a pretty sensitive document with a lot of or not sensitive is the wrong word, but it's a very carefully worded document. You all have obviously done a lot of that, and I think we're going to review it. I think the other thing I would like to hear in the next meeting, if it's not too late, and if you all need to move before that, that's fine. But if we are going to review, I'd imagine we review it by the next meeting, is just sort of the dissemination plan of it and what that looks like to you all. So if you don't know already.
Well, we kind of already know.
Okay.
We're going to meet with the complainants. We're going to send it to the commission, the ARCS Commission, to the Metro Council, and to the mayor's office. Everything we send, we've been sending, we'll send something also to Metro Legal. So that's like the general dissemination of it.
So
Okay.
that raises, an interesting issue for me, and that is that I can't recall when a report has been issued on a discrimination matter publicly. Maybe it has, I just don't recall. And I am wondering whether, for protection of our staff, whether or not the commission, if it decides to, should adopt the staff report so it is a commission report rather than a staff report.
I think that's what Pratik was getting at earlier.
I mean, I think that is sort of what I'm thinking about, but it might make more sense once we see the report. So I don't want to jump to any conclusions yet on that. But I mean, I think that we should definitely keep it as an option on the table. If the report is in that direction. But yes, that is sort of what I was thinking.
What has come out of this is there will be basically two reports taken from all this information. One will be to the Title VI complaint, period. The other rose out of some of the questions that we're waiting to get answers from legal on, would be the implications of if the Supreme Court case around affirmative action has this application to arts, what is the implication to the rest of Metro? And so there'll be a separate report to talk about some of the other findings that are part of this, because there's this system that got us to the vote in July and to the rescinding vote in August. And going through this process, we're able to look at this system in various places and make comments and even recommendations around it that would make it a bit more transparent and hopefully more equitable.
That second report, it sounds like one is really specific to the complaint and the investigation and the interviews and all that stuff. The second one is more of a advisory report or something like that. Will it include things from the investigation, or is it a broader, these are the implications?
Well, it will. Yes, it will include stuff from the report, since it's all drawn from the same information. It's all drawn from the same information and then thankfully we've talked with Metro Legal casually about this, around ways of how to help commissions operate better. That onboarding executive directors, that there are other systemic things that have contributed to this that we believe are fixable, very easy actually, that we think that it's necessary that through looking at this Title VI report, these other things are what caused that.
On that, that's the reason I'm asking is that the complaint report seems like, yes, I think that should be protected and should be a commission thing. And then I guess the advisory report will be important stuff to tell Metro that could also be a vote. I know that executive committee will probably be seeing or knowing or being updated on that report on the 19th during our executive committee meeting, if anybody wants to come to that again. So I think at that point we could figure out whether, to me, it seems like it should be a vote regardless of what's in it for the February meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, I'm interested in making sure that our staff is protected. And so I think, commission, if a commission adopts the report, then it's the commission adopting the report.
Does that make sense to everybody if we make this a commission vote in February? Yeah.
We love protection.
Yeah. Thank you for suggesting that, both of you. Okay. Then that's a thorough update. Anybody got any other questions? I'm happy to hear this slowly wind down. Are you using OtterBox in your Zooms to get, not OtterBox, Otter?
I am moving forward, but hadn't been until this week.
Oh no. Okay. All right. Then we are complete. And if there are no public comments, no announcements, I can get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second?
One second.
No one against, no one abstaining. And we are adjourned. Thank you all for your incredible discussion, as usual. Pratik just reminded me, if you want to take a few minutes and fill out the evaluation while you're here and give it to Ashley, that would be excellent.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.